Welcome back, everyone. It is Laughing Games here, and today we're back with another StarCraft 2 1 versus 1 replay. Today we've got ourselves a Terran versus Protoss on the map Ruins of Endion between two amazing players here. We've got ourselves Polt versus Neeb. So, without further ado, spawning up in the bottom left side of the map, it is the red Terran player recently joining the team Envious. It is Polt. And spawning down in the top right side of this map, it is the blue Protoss player. It is Neeb, who actually somewhat recently just joined his team, Ting. So these two players recently joining their teams, and understandably, because they're such good players, getting great deals with teams, I imagine. So we've got arguably normally it's wrong to say something such as a player is arguably the best or arguably better than the others, but Polt is without a doubt the best Terran player in North America, and Neeb is without a doubt really the best North American Protoss here. So very, very good players here. So we're going to see a crazy match between these two, I assume. Now, we've got these two players, very solid players. I assume they're going to be playing it very standard and very straightforward, as it usually goes with the solid players here. But we could see some ridiculous build come out here. But for now, we just see Neeb moving out across the map, scouting with his probe. And this probe has actually sort of, I guess, pressured Polt to put his command center on the high ground. So Polt is going to be behind a little bit in the economy there, just going for this barracks expand. The Marine is now chasing the probe away, and now Polt's going for his own worker scout. So these players wanting to know exactly what each other's going for, and on this map Ruins of Endion, that is understandably good because there's lots of defense here on this map. The rock towers that Polt is currently destroying will buy lots of time here. However, players can sort of be given a false sense of security by them, so they still definitely want to know what's going on. Now, Polt and Neeb have both scouted each other's base. Polt actually got in with the SCV. He saw the two gases that Neeb has gotten. Neeb really just saw the barracks and that it was just a Marine opener. So Neeb's a little bit in the dark here. He's not aware that Polt necessarily built a command center on the high ground. However, he's a very good player, and he's likely going to assume it. That's the case. Now, Polt's actually moving up with his worker up in the top right side of the map here, possibly to place a building. Polt has just placed his factory at home, so it's not likely. This SCV likely just for scouting here, and now as Polt moves with his Marines, destroying these rock towers, those collapsing, and now Neeb moving across the map to see what's going on. So Polt playing it safe by all means. It usually means that he's not going to necessarily move out for some very early aggression, but we already knew that as Polt was just teching here. He's got a tech lab, he's starting a stim, so this is quite a quick stim here, and I assume this is going to be for a double Marine stim attack here. He's going to start building his starport here once his factory is done, and then after that he's going to throw... no, never mind, I'm completely wrong here. Polt is actually going for a Widow Mine before he starts his starport, but the stim necessarily isn't very quick, but this is still quite a quick stim for the Terran player. It's not like he's going for 3 command centers. He's now starting up his starport. Meanwhile, Neeb is going for this Oracle with his own Stargate. The Stargate has not been scouted, but Polt is playing it very safe here. He's got the 6 Marines, the magic number, actually more than 6, to deal with this Oracle. So Neeb is going to be a bit hard-pressed to get some damage done, but Oracles are very effective tools if this game does go later. They can always get some damage done. Now this Oracle coming and activating his beam, actually managing to pick off 2 SCVs and a Marine here, so not doing nothing. And now this mineral line at the bottom is actually unprotected for Polt. He put all his defense at the top here. Now this Oracle being microed so well by Neeb, but that one hidden Widow Mine where that SCV was standing on, Neeb could not see it. He was not aware that mine was there at the time, and that Widow Mine managed to kill off that Oracle. However, that was a big investment for Neeb, but he got 5 SCVs, he delayed some buildings. I was about to mention, right before that Oracle flew into it, Polt did have a mine, and apparently it was burrowed right underneath that SCV. So now, Polt took a bit of damage there. Neeb is now getting up his 3rd base, which is quite a bit scary for Polt. Protoss gets fast bases in this game here. However, Neeb has quite a worker lead here. He's got another Oracle that's come out, so he will have the ability to use Revelation, always be a threat to the Terran player. But for now, it seems Neeb's just going to be macroing up here, and Polt scans and sees this. So Polt does have these medivacs out. He did get that reactor on that starport. His stim is finished, so he will have quite a tanky small bioforce here, so he will possibly be able to get some great damage done, particularly whereas Neeb is going to be sort of stretched out trying to defend 3 bases. His mothership core can defend 1, but his army can really only defend another one, and that leaves, if you do the math here, that is 2 defended Nexus and 1 not defended one there. And now it seems Polt's likely going to drop into this 3rd base. It's possible he'll kill it, very unlikely, but it's always a possibility here, at least to get some worker kills, as Neeb just transferred so many probes down here. Neeb is going to be in trouble. He's going to have to pull these workers. He has repositioned his army a bit, so it won't take as long to get there. However, these are stalkers and sentries versus some stim bios, so there will be some damage on that probe going out to build a pylon. Neeb quickly cancels that, but now probes are starting to go down for Neeb. 7, 8, 9. Polt managed to get so many kills there so quickly. However, one of the medivacs does go down, so Polt not getting away with that completely scot-free. However, he closed the gap on workers there. Neeb would have had a ridiculous worker lead up until that drop was done. And now we see these players going into full macro mode for this game. Neeb getting up this blink, as it's very effective to deal with Terrans who go for lots of Liberators, who go for lots of drops such as Polt. So Neeb gonna be relying on that. He's getting his attack upgrades. Polt's just finished his, but it's common for a Terran player to have his +1 attack a bit sooner. Now we see Neeb still has this Stargate here, so he could always tech into Tempest if this game goes very long, but that is thinking really far ahead. For now, Neeb's just gonna go for some harassment with this Warp Prisms. It seems it's gonna take the very long way up around to harass this 3rd base for Polt, which he's building on location, so that will just sort of be getting saturated as this Warp Prism reaches there. He picks up 4 Adepts here, and those can do carnage to mineral lines, particularly since they will have this +1 attack here in a second, so they will 2-shot those SCVs. Neeb, though, positioned very well, as both these players are thinking each other's going to go for some aggression here. Polt sieging up with these Liberators just as a precaution, as Neeb could be going for a large attack, but for now, both players just sticking to some harassment, teching very quickly here. But, oh, if we pay attention here, there's actually another Widow Mine hanging out by that 3rd base. Neeb will likely be able to avoid that, depending on where he drops, though. It's a possibility. This Warp Prism is going to move in here in a second here. The drops for Polt, I'm actually not sure. I know he was going out for some. It seems that he likely I think he's down about 3 Marines there, so he probably just dropped for a second. Neeb sees everything with this Observer, but I believe Polt spots that as he was sitting underneath it, but apparently not. Either that or he didn't have energy for a scan. So now this game is progressing very quickly as macro presents it. Neeb got his quick 3rd base. Polt's has got his 3rd base up and had it like that for a while. Neeb actually might be looking to take a 4th base here, and he actually does. This is very quick here. Neeb has a Disruptor here. That seems to be Neeb's tech of choice. He's got the robotics base. So, however, Disruptors versus Polt. Polt is a Korean Terran player. He will be able to split very effectively versus these shots, and that's just a fact. Polt has amazing micro. However, Neeb has great control with these Disruptors, and Neeb has amazing army control for a Protoss. He is able to reposition units perfectly, just use force fields to section off the right amount of units. So Neeb will be able to... Neeb's not just relying on these Disruptors, even though it will sort of seem like it, but it still can depend on these shots that he gets here. And now Neeb is actually starting to tech into Tempest here. As I said before, neither of these players went for any super early aggression here. Neeb actually hasn't even dropped with this Warp Prism yet. I'm not sure what's been holding him back here. I mean, he scouted the base, but he never really dropped in, and now he's moving in with this Prism, but it is going towards the back here. We're a Widow Mine and a turret. That's just a death sentence for that here. Polt actually moving out with his own drop here, so these players trying to figure out a good way to sort of stab each other in the back, but neither has made the move out yet necessarily. And now we see Neeb throwing up another Stargate, so he's gonna get into a scary Tempest production here. Neeb, great work with this Oracle here, and Polt isn't actually aware of these Tempests yet, so Polt will be caught a bit off by this. He does have 2 starports, so he will be able to start making plenty of Liberators here. well, the problem is right now he's making lots of Liberators, which are not effective versus Tempest. Tempest are the hard counter to Liberators. Tempest and this Oracle will be able to shave them off and really stop the effectiveness of the Liberators. Pult dropping over to the top here, thinking maybe Neeb would get a 4th base here. However, Neeb has elected to get this base. For a macro game, it really makes more sense for a Protoss to get this 4th base instead of this farther up one, as in a macro game there tends to be more drops. Pult moving in with this drop though to the north. There's no 4th base there, so he's going to go for a 4th. However, Neeb has seen this perfectly. But now Pult pushing in from the north, pushing in from the south, gonna force Neeb to split his army perfectly. Neeb moving in with some Stalkers here, but this is a large amount of bio. These Stalkers are gonna have a hard time trading. This is 1-1 bio here versus 1-1 infantry, but now it seems Pult's moving very heavily to this attack here. There's just some Tempest here with a few Disruptors. The one Disruptor moves in, gets an amazing connection there. That got 10 kills with one shot. It seems though the 4th base for Neeb is going to go down. These Tempests are going to trade amazingly here. However, they're ultimately going to go down, and now Pult is using his great macro, his great micro, and he's just pushing on both sides for Neeb. Another Disruptor shot going out, only picks off one unit there. Great splits were coming out of Pult here, and now Neeb lost his 4th base. Meanwhile, Pult is starting to get up his 4th here. So Pult didn't necessarily manage to kill Neeb. It was a very aggressive attack, and he sort of needed to do a good bit of damage there, and he did. He got the 4th base, which is good. But Pult has yet to start his 2-2 upgrades, and Neeb is actually starting his +3, so Neeb's going to have an upgrade lead here, and that's going to last for a long time here. So Pult's going to either need to rely to go on to take a very good decisive fight here, or he's simply going to have to drop and pick Neeb apart. And it seems Pult's actually moving out with his army here. Neeb does see this just on the edge of his observer, so he knows the situation, and now Neeb's forced to pull back. His 3rd base is in jeopardy here. He's only got a handful of units here, and this is so many Liberators. Pult's starting to get out of these Vikings. Revelation goes up for the Oracle. Neeb knows exactly what's on, but look at these circles of death. Neeb's 3rd base is now being pressured here by Pult. He's going to have to break this position, and the Tempests are great for that. However, they cannot do it quick enough, so this 3rd base goes down, and sure, he's going to be able to start picking off these units. He's shaving off the Vikings. He's got 6 Tempests, which is a scary number for a Terran. However, that's if the Terran tries to take head-on engagements, or the Terran's trying to push slowly. Pult is just striking and retreating, so now Neeb's only just gotten up his 4th base, and now he's down a 3rd base. Meanwhile, Pult's so many mules, so many SCVs, happily mining on this 4th base. Pult has an army supply lead, and that's going to stay the case. Well, he's maxed out right now, so he can't make any more units, so he's going to start to focus on things such as upgrades, such as more tech. He's getting up more and more barracks, so Neeb is getting up a scary composition here. However, it is arguably lacking Storm, and we've seen lots of Protoss players going for this composition, and now it's just not working. The Storm is sort of more decisive than the Disruptors here. And the 3rd base for Neeb was cancelled again as Pult moved in. Neeb's supply is just dropping. He's not reaching this Death Ball composition, mainly because Pult's striking everywhere. He can't have a Death Ball if it has to be split up. Tempest being picked off by Pult's growing Viking count here. And now Neeb is going down. He's sort of being split apart. Pult moves in with a large bio hit force here. They were aiming to snipe this Nexus, however, Neeb used that Oracle to such efficiency here, and these units are all going to be picked off. Though this bio, if Pult's using grid control, could possibly pick off a Disruptor here. This is making me a bit uncomfortable. If Pult's prepared to click on this properly, but he's dealing right now with the 3rd base, so regardless, he's doing damage to Neeb. He did not focus unit down there, so that was ultimately cleaned up. Neeb is getting up Storm, which is a sort of a saving grace versus these large Viking counts. Storm, Tempest with Disruptors arguably trumps any composition Terran makes. The Storm and the Tempest can push on a Terran, but so Terran has to make up for it in positioning. And so it's going to be, the question is, will Neeb get to this scary composition, which could beat anything, which could beat Pult's units really in almost any situation? And if it does get to that situation, will Pult be able to counter that with his unit composition? Pult's reaching a scary amount of Vikings, well, 8 Vikings, which can start to shave off Tempest here. And look at how many probes are mining off this base for Neeb, 40 over 16, and this base is sort of aging itself a bit, so Neeb is going for the gold base here. Instead of expanding up, Neeb's just trying to consolidate everything. Look at how few defense is here for this base. Pult could easily come in with another drop and snipe this off, and he might actually just be doing that. This Bioforce is scouted by Neeb, but he simply might not be dealing with this. He's pushing in with his Tempest, with his Disruptors, and with his High Templar, but these Liberators are just throwing down so much here. The Adepts trying to get some harassment done, and they're trying to accomplish that. So it's hard for Neeb here. He's split up so perfectly. The Protoss army is, without a doubt, strong together, whereas Polt's just splitting him so perfectly. The threat of having to use units. Look at this. Neeb warping and Zealots. He's got such an odd situation of units here to try and defend this base, which should so much arguably help defend this 4th Nexus, which has just gone down. Polt making such a scary amount of units. These Vikings are now starting to shave off the Tempest here. Storm used to go down on these Vikings immediately. Neeb throwing them down, so all these Vikings are seemingly going to go down. The Stalkers and Tempest shaving them off, so Polt sacrifices all his Vikings. However, this top base here, it's being defended with the Storm, but there might just not be enough. These Marauders, sure, they're also very, very weak, so the Tempest is going to start picking them off. Look at this, but these are 5 Marauders. They can actually just get out of here. Polt loads them into the Medivac, though. So Polt just moving into the drop here. So Neeb's actually been taking good fights here. This is the power of his very cost-efficient, very great army by all means. And he's actually been managing to deal with Polt's multi-pronged harass. However, Polt now taking so many command centers out here on the map. Polt is in no situation with macro. It's the question of whether Neeb will be able to take enough cost-efficient fights versus Polt that he can win this game ultimately. For now, though, Polt is just able to throw so much at Neeb. He's moving in with the Liberators, securing his position, starting to harass this mineral line. Neeb, at this rate, Neeb's 4th base is going to mine out sooner than his 3rd base. It's just been denied for so long. Polt is losing his 4th base here. The Tempest are starting to chip away on it. However, Neeb's attacking into Polt, so that means one thing. Polt coming in for a counterattack here. The Stalkers can't fight into this Liberation Zone. The Pylons aren't covering enough ground, and Neeb's losing this Nexus again. Neeb has not secured another base. Neeb is going to start to mine out. Look at his income dropping. Soon it'll be below the 1,000 here. And if we look at this, Polt has lost more resources. His main base is starting to get compromised. So this is going to go into a pseudo base trade here. But Polt has such a bank. He's got such an arguably better composition. But it seems Neeb is pulling back. He's not going for this base trade. He's just moving into the few Adepts. This is such a great choice. He's not going for a base trade, but he knows the situation of Polt's army. He knows there's nothing to defend these SCVs. And that is so many SCVs for Polt. But Polt takes out the 3rd base. Neeb throwing up a 4th base. Neeb just has had no luck securing this base. And not necessarily luck, he's just not been able to, as Polt's been harassing there. But Neeb's been taking great fights in other situations here. These Adepts are going to start shade behind this planetary fortress, and those are going to start to shut down Polt's mining. Sure, Polt has been was technically on like 6 or 7 bases there for a while, but they've all been shut down. His 4th base has been killed. His natural and main are mined out. His 3rd base was forced off by the Adepts. So really, this top base for Polt is actually very important. But now we're going to see Neeb start to get up this base. And Neeb has so many probes mining off this base. That is like 50 probes he just transferred. And now we see Neeb starting to chip away at the production of Polt. Polt is almost at max, so it's going to really come down to this one fight at this point. Seems that Neeb has a questionably low buffer in his army. His army supply is less than Polt's, but these Tempests are very supply heavy. So if Polt manages to get on top of this army with this scary amount of Vikings, so this is going to come down to the game of, is Neeb going to be able to storm all these Vikings? But there's so many Liberators too, so Neeb is going to need an amazing engagement here to hang on. And look at this, Neeb is taking Polt's 4th base here. He can't take his own 3rd base, so he takes his 4th base, but now we see Polt moving in with a large drop here. The Mothership Core is moving in, going to get off some Photon Overcharges. 2 of them are actually going to start to wear down this bio. However, this is so much bio here. It's going to unpower all this tech for Neeb, and it's going to, but Neeb coming in with his reinforcements are going to chase down this army here. However, his army is still so split here. Polt's army is split, and that works out better for the Terran, really. As Neeb is not split to harass, Neeb is split to defend, and now he's actually pulling back to his main base for whatever reason. He's doesn't know what's going on, but this is actually such a close game here. Neeb is now actually soon going to be... Neeb can start mining at Polt's 4th base. This base is finished up. This is ridiculous. He actually doesn't need to transfer some probes here, as he's so oversaturated on this gold base here. But if we look at the incomes here, Neeb is catching back up. Polt is just starting to mine all of Neeb's bases in a minute here. This game is going very, very ridiculous, but Polt hasn't really addressed the issue of all his production being compromised, so he's actually starting production elsewhere. He's getting up barracks all across the map. I assume he'll be starting some starports, and now he's actually getting ghosts. We see this sort of chess-like thing. So when Neeb makes one unit, Polt makes another. It started off when Polt was making the bios, and Neeb made the disruptors. So Polt made the liberators, so Neeb made the Tempest. So Polt made the Vikings, so Neeb made the Templar, and now we've reached the stage which both players have maxed out their armies in their really composition density, I guess. Polt has gotten so many ghosts, which if they get great EMPs, and Neeb is not aware of these, so they very possibly will. And if these Templars are nullified, Neeb will lose this game. Neeb will lose the fight. These Vikings will shred the Tempest in a straight-on fight. So it's going to be up to these High Templar, and if they get EMP'd by all these ghosts, which Polt's now moving in with some of these ghosts are cloaked. Does Neeb have an observer? That's the ultimate question here. Neeb has 3 observers across the map, and I think he has seen these ghosts here. 2 Tempests are moving out, but these ghosts are cloaked. Neeb has 1 observer with his army. He's getting an EMP. Neeb trying to actually kill off the ghosts with a disruptor, and he actually managed to do that. All 4 ghosts going down to 1 disruptor. They managed to get off 1 or 2 EMPs, but I believe every single High Templar was missed. That was amazing by Neeb. His observer is in the army, but it was not in position, and he just simply killed off 4 ghosts with 1 disruptor shot, but there's another 4 ghosts coming in. They get EMPs on so many of the Templar here, but there's still so many more EMPs for the Templar. But these Liberators, Polt's pushing his position here. He's just sieging up all these Liberators, which will pick off the Templar here. The ghosts are sieged. There is an observer, so these ghosts are going to go down. However, there is only 2 Templar left of the Storm. They're throwing down all the Storms on the Vikings here. But it seems these Tempests are starting to go down, but the Vikings are now all dead. So the Neeb wins the air war, but he did lose this base here, so his economy has taken a hit. However, he does have a very large mineral bank, so he's now warping in so many Zealots as a buffer here, and as a result, Neeb will have sort of a superior ground army as Polt is now down on supply, but more and more ghosts are here. They're going to be able to get off great EMPs. They're going to start to pick off a little Templar that Neeb dumped his last resources into. He's getting off Storms on all this army here. However, it seems his observer is dead. All his units have gone, and he's morphing Archons into Liberation Zones. And there was simply not enough to deal with these here. The Archons are going to start to pick off the last of these units. Neeb is warping in so many Stalkers. He's bringing back the rest of his army over here to fight this last army of Polt. And now Neeb is down in supply. However, he has seemingly more of an army together right now. Polt has all these units sitting up north doing nothing that are not partaking in the fight, and this is going to cost Polt dearly here. Polt's army's gone down. All those expensive ghosts are now dead. Now Neeb has taken the army supplies. Polt was not fighting with his whole army. This army has been forgotten about by Polt. His production, well, his main base production is compromised, and this just throws his Terran off so much. Neeb is starting to pick all this off. He's morphing in Stalkers, so his composition is getting worse, but Neeb is doing completely fine here. This gold base is starting to mine out, so Neeb's economy is going to start to slow, but he is getting at this base again. Neeb is killing Polt by all means right here. Polt is moving out to get a drop at the back, but Neeb knows this. He's morphing in Stalkers, and they're going to start to pick up the Medivacs. They get one of them before it fully unloads. However, now these Stalkers are just trying to walk and focus down the Medivac wrongly. Zealots are morphed in as Neeb has had such a large mineral bank, which is now gone. Polt is doing great damage with this drop here. And now Neeb is forced to pull back to deal with this, but the production of Polt is starting to go down in this main base. This game is getting so hard to tell who's in the lead because Polt doesn't have a main base, and Neeb is mining from Polt's side of the map. And we actually see that all the production for Polt's going down, and if we look, all these supply depots are going to start to go down, and this is going to heavily supply block Polt. These Zealots are going to cost Polt all of his production. So for now, Polt's making a few units here, and he's building barracks, but once all these supply depots go down, he's going to have to build a lot. Polt's scanning all over the map because he's simply got orbitals all over the map so he can scan everywhere. And if we actually, this game is so hard to tell as this is not standard at all. These two players known to play standard are not playing standard at all. Well, they're playing standard, but they're in such a weird position. Neeb knows his position. He's still got an Oracle alive here somewhere, still getting off great Revelation. That just shows off how good of a player he is. He's managing to see everything that's going on by Polt. He's not being torn apart by this high demand for multitasking. However, Neeb is not aware of all these bases by Polt. And now look at all these scans going down for Polt. Polt is going back to the dropping game here. He knows he can't fight Neeb in a head-on engagement as Neeb's army is so scary, and this sort of puts Neeb in this situation here. By the way, look, all the supply depots went down to these Zealots, and there's a bit more tech here that could go down later on in the game. These Zealots are queued to destroy everything of Polt. And now it seems there's an engagement going down with Neeb, trying to chase down this army of Polt. And now it seems Neeb has caught wind of this command center here. He's going to start to kill this off, and this is Polt's economy here. Right now, Polt has a superior economy, and as a Terran, he will be able to float these bases around everywhere. But this is so much damage. Like, Polt is sort of crippled by all means. His production's scattered, and he's using great control to play with these units, but he's falling in supply here. Neeb has taken such a supply lead here. As Polt is mining, Polt has money, but he's sort of shattered here. Everything's split up. It's so hard for him to control all these locations. His production was split up, and he's making more and more bio, but Neeb has a better composition. Polt needs more than just bio. All his liberators died, so he can't really deal with all this other units, but he's doing what bio can do best, and he's dropping Neeb. He's starting to take off really the only mining base of Neeb, and now Neeb is morphing in a few units here, but that's going to be it. Neeb's going to have no mining besides long distance, so Neeb is going to need to make this army he has, and his army supply has dropped. Well, not necessarily his army supply. The players aren't even army supply, but Neeb has lost a few workers. He has lost a few units here and there. So now Neeb is the one who's in economic distress. This One Tempest is starting to pick off all these units. However, One Tempest cannot necessarily... There's only a few Marines here for Polt, but Neeb... Maybe it's time that he finally tries to take this third base once he mines long distance enough to get it. Neeb now on top of the production for Polt. He's going to start to clean this all up again. Polt's saying, oh no, I have to rebuild my production once again. However, Neeb only has 1 or 2 Tempests, and Polt is building up this Liberator count again. Neeb getting on a Revelation, so this one Tempest will actually be such a playmaker here if this game gets into a more awkward situation here. 2 Templar, 4 Neeb, gonna try to get Storms, and that bio was also split up there. Neeb moving in for a large attack here. All this bio eating Storms, but there is still this planetary for Neeb to rely on. Polt moving in from the bottom with all these units. The Disruptor trying to get a shot off, but it seems that Neeb's army is going down. He's forced into such a bad position here. And it seems that Neeb's army is just gonna go down. He's not mining anymore, and Polt manages to bring this game back. Neeb has destroyed so much of Polt's stuff. Polt had taken the map and everything. Neeb literally destroyed so much for Polt. Both players lost 50,000 resources in that insane game, but in the end, Polt managed to take it, and that was so hard to tell who was going to win towards the end there. It seems that Neeb had it, but Polt, with his great drops, forced Neeb's hand, forced Neeb into a bad fight, and fighting into a planetary fortress was really what lost Neeb that game, but he didn't necessarily have a choice. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. That was an absolutely insane game between these two amazing players here. If you have any casting feedback, let me know, as that was a bit of a hectic game. But I am always going to be casting more games, so if you feel free to like and feel free to subscribe, as I am always putting out more content. See you guys next time.